Hello, my name is Ryan and I am the King of Booty Fab, and it has been a long time since I've uploaded a video. It's been a long time since I've filmed a whole lot of stuff. I've been busy. I've been so busy with life and good, bad, all of it. Smashed a couple of cameras, lost hours upon hours upon hours of footage. It's a story for another day. Today, I am sitting at my buddy Dustin's shop, Backdoor Fab. We are working on a 68 Power Wagon, and there's some metal work. We're doing some suspension work. We're putting a Cummins in it. Yeah, it's kind of cool. A lot of fun. This video is going to be a little bit scattered. First half might be a little bit long. I filmed it, smashed the phone I was filming with, wasn't sure if I'd be able to recover any of it, went home, took a break, come back, I'm already on round 2 while I'm recording this, before I even got my phone back. So I'm going to finish editing it, I'm going to upload part 1, and while you see part 1, we're almost done part 2 already, so yeah. Sorry if it's a little scattered, sorry if there's information missing. A lot of that missing information is going to end up on Dustin's channel. I'll put a link in the comments below. He's been filming different stuff than I have. I'm trying to cover this completely separately. So check out his channel for missing information. And let's check this thing out. Okay, so let's get into this sheet metal here. So let's see if I can get focused. There we go. This is pretty common on some of these older trucks. Moisture just gets in here and wrecks this. And we're not doing a restoration on this thing. It's got to be sealed up. We want it to look good. But this is probably the worst cancer on the truck. There's a little bit on the inside there, you got a patch, but this here, this is a problem. So what I've done, I've just cut a piece of 20 gauge steel, took it over to the press breaker. I'm going to show you how this all happened. Put a couple of brakes in it, hammered it. Now, let's see, it's not quite right. The bends are spaced a little bit far off. I'm kind of eyeballing this. So I've got another piece cut over here. Just another test piece. So we're going to go out to the box and pan brake. I'm going to put a couple of bends in this, and we're going to retest fit. Now the idea is I want to be able to build a piece that's one piece from there all the way to there. One piece. And instead of trying to set it in, I think what we're going to do is we're basically going to do an overlay. I want a tight fit to this shape. We're going to bring it out to here where it can be welded to the slip where it's nice and strong. We're going to spot weld it down here, cut out all the cancer, spray some rust converter. So on either side of the truck, we're basically going to have a seam that stands up a little bit, just because I don't want to risk getting into the roof skin. I don't want to... we got to watch time on this part. It's got to be good. It's got to be clean. But honestly, once the windshield rubber's on there, you're not going to notice a little seam here. It's going to be pretty slick. So, I'll go put some bends in this and see if we can make this thing fit. Okay, so I'm doing this one-handed. We're in the C-can outside the shop. But box and pan brakes out here. Let's see if I can do this all one-handed. Down on the line. I think I went about 50, 60 degrees on that one. And then this one. See how precise I'm being here. I think I'm going to be good. We're about to find out. All right, and this one, I go up pretty close to 90. It doesn't matter right now because I'm going to do some other stuff to it. So take this back into the shop. And I wish I had this much space at home. Feel spoiled every time I come down here. Okay, so this is my workstation. Okay, I'm gonna oh, Dustin's got a stand. Give me a sec, and then I don't have to do this one-handed. Okay. You can see how high-tech this is going to be right here. So, I'm going to, this glove rolled up, socket, and now, you can see, that flattened it out quite a bit. That's not a worry. The problem is, I couldn't do this roll and then put it in the press or in the box and pan, because when this rolled down, it wasn't going to go in. So I can roll this until this is flat. That's as far as I can roll it. I need a little bit more in there. Now, on the longer piece, the plan is to work the socket along, and now it's not going to be perfect. I've got body hammers and dollies here. I'll straighten it back out. I'm going to go back out to the box and pan. I'm going to fold this seam back down, and then we're going to test fit it up there. And before anybody says it, or if anybody's thinking it, yes, this is going to make a straight piece. There's a crown horizontally on that. But my shrinker stretcher, but Dustin's got shrinker stretchers here. We're going to bolt them down to the table because we haven't gotten around to making a stand yet. And then we can stretch this upper lip, which is going to form it. It's not going to be flat. We're going to have to put it down. We're going to have to, yeah, it's going to take a little bit. So some of this process I'm going to speed up. And then first I'm going to go fix this. We're going to test fit this against the windshield, make sure we're good. And then we're going to cut a strip the full width we need and start working the actual strip. But test piece first, because you know, my first one I was off by about 1/8 of an inch. I just miscalculated. It's early morning and I don't drink coffee anymore. So, yeah, give me a second. Well, through the brake again. I'm going to take this. There you go. First time fitting it up. Oh, let's see. Focus. There we go. Bottom looks good. And see, that's just a hair out here. So let's take this back here, like this, and let's try this again. I don't know about you guys, but I think that fits pretty good. Now this is obviously going to be long, and on the back side here you can see doesn't fit. Why? Because there's a crown. Now the nice thing is you can see this is all solid metal where it gets really bad, or where the crown gets really bad or really big, or however you want to term that. We're basically going from here to there. It's not bad. Over 3.5 feet there's 1 inch and a bit of crown, which isn't a whole lot really. But this is going to end up a hair shorter even. I'll probably shorten it up just so that I don't have so much material I got to stretch. But the rest of the profile's good. I think I nailed my measurements. And honestly, once that's got a weld seam there and it's blended, because we'll weld this and we'll blend it out once it's trimmed to shape. Once that's all blended, it's going to be almost invisible unless you know you're looking for it. This is going to get hidden inside the brand new windshield rubber we got for it. We're going to cut all this out, spray some converter, paint it white. It's going to be slick. So I'm going to get a measurement on it. I'm going to cut my piece. You guys don't need to see anybody run a grinder. There's the gist of it, but I'll just time lapse this piece here since you know what's going on now. Yeah, I'm just going to go right ahead and cut out the footage of me messing with the box and pan, because yes, it will do it. It will bend this 46 inches. It's a 48 inch box and pan. The problem is it's misadjusted. You know, the setback is a little bit off and the tension's a little bit off, so I kind of had to fake it a little bit, but It didn't need to be perfect on this bend anyways, because as soon as I run my radius up the middle, it's going to flatten it back out. I'm going to have to go through it again. Basically, it's going to be a couple of trips back and forth, but I've got it adjusted to the point that at least I can get most of this bend, and well, that's all I can hope for. So instead of just dropping a glove in the middle of the table, I'm going to set up a glove on the edge of this, because if I set up a glove on the edge of this table, I can basically drop that lip over the edge and just slide a little along over top of the glove, and using my socket hammer dolly. Yeah, it shouldn't actually be too bad. It doesn't take much to move this stuff around. So I'm gonna set that up, and then I'll set up the camera, and we'll put some radius in this. We want to get it as uniform as possible along the length, because yeah, obviously we want it to be the same. There's other ways to do this, but with what I have on hand, this is the quickest, dirtiest, easiest way. And honestly, once it's welded in, nobody's going to know the difference. Okay, so I got this good chunk of the way where I wanted it, but with the socket obviously not being the ideal dolly, I end up with some divots along the way. And what I want is I actually want a dolly fit on this side so that I can use the socket here. So I went out in the pile. Here's my socket. And I'll grab this. So, here's my socket. I'm using a 3/4 inch impact socket, which obviously, I do this one-handed. There we go. Now, you can see, pretty much the shape I want. So, I went out to the scrap pile, found this piece of DOM that is pretty darn close. So, cutting along the length, and we want it to fit on this side. So basically, I'm going to cut a piece that fits in there. I'm going to weld a little piece of flat bar to it, and it's just enough of a radius. I'll mark it, I'll cut it, I'm going to weld a little piece of flat bar, and then I can clamp this in the vise, and then I can just work my piece back and forth, and that'll give me my proper radius. If I'd been planning ahead, I could have just made a die on the 3D printer for the bead roller, or even spun one on the lathe, but honestly this is going to take me 5 minutes to make this, and then you know, my stuff lying around. When it's done, it's going to be perfect. So I'm going to go do that off camera, and then we'll be back in a minute. There we go. It ain't much, but it'll be perfect for what I need. I'm going to throw it in the vise on the table, and let's smooth out some of those dimples. Make this thing right. Dustin's over here working on the crossmember. Designed this. This should be pretty custom Cummins crossmember for conversions. Drops in with some frame side mounts and a couple of motor mounts we haven't welded up yet, but anyway, it's pretty much a universal drop in. But he's got all kinds of details for that over on his channel. But yeah, lots of stuff going on here. Now the nice thing about doing that short piece, my sample, is that I already know what profile I need, and you can see we're probably pretty close here. As soon as I open up this one, close this one a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the box and pan because we tweaked that just a little bit. I want to sharpen up that edge before I start stretching stuff. And we're going to sharpen this edge bend a little bit more. I'm going to open this one a little bit much with the hammer on the table there. Bring it out, and then we're going to get onto the stretcher. Put a little bit of shape to this so that it starts to fit. You can see too, as I'm doing this work, see how it's curling? It's already starting to do what I want it to just by adding all this shape in here. It's stretching all the metal as I go over the dolly, and you can see it's arched that way, which we want. The only reason I'm going back in here is because I want to sharpen up this edge before I put it in the stretcher. This edge stayed pretty good because of how deep this is. This one, not quite so good, and you can see I just want to take this wave out of here. So I'm starting with a relatively straighter surface, and as soon as I take some of that wave out, I can basically put it into the box and pan here. Let's light this all the way up. I can put it in, line up this end, kind of where it needs to go, and then you can see it's way out here, but I can force it into place. I can't do this one-handed, but you can see I can pull it into place, and this is going to sharpen up this edge, so I'm starting with something relatively straight. This isn't the spot that I want it to bow at. I want the crown in this, not this way. So this is going to end up relatively flat. So sharpening up this edge, that's going to deal with that, so that I can start stretching this and putting it where I want it. So you can see pretty close there. Now, obviously this thing all stretches. So we want, let's see, we want the crown this way. But you can see we've got crown this way as well. We don't want that. So to get the crown running, let me see. I want it to go like this. I'm going to have to stretch this, but the reason it's currently bowing the other way, I got to shrink this side. So I'm going to end up shrinking this side, which is going to pull everything back down so I don't have this crown that you can see. You shrink this, I'm going to stretch this, and we're going to work it along the edges until this piece fits up there. Yeah, pretty straightforward really, I think. I don't know, we'll find out in a minute. See, kind of see it already. That pulled that a whole lot straighter there. I'm starting to get this curve here, so it's going to get noisy in here while Dustin welds and grinds. So I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to tweak this into the shape I need, and then we'll come back when it fits on the truck. You know, I love being down here, and I love hanging out in the shop. It's super well equipped, but I miss my shop that has about 300 sets of, well, not 300, but lots of ice grips when I can only find one and one. Yeah, mental note. I'm going to bring a bag full of stuff next time. But, as you can see, got a pretty gentle radius on it, but as we get over here, it's not quite enough. So I need to stretch this further. There's a bit of a curl, so I'm going to shrink this a hair. I'm going to stretch that. And then over on this side, same thing. You can see we're pretty tight. This will clamp down, and I mean, we're pretty flush along here. So we're getting closer. This is the first time I've thrown it up here to actually step back and take a look. But I'll take a Sharpie and kind of mark, as it stands off. I'll start stretching it a little bit up here and work that way. And then out here, we're pretty good until out here. Oh, watching the metal and not the phone. Yeah, so I'm gonna make a couple of marks on here, take it back to the shrinker stretcher, get this adjusted a little bit more, and we can start cutting some cancer out so we can put this piece in. It'll be pretty clean though. Should work good. So here's the thing, it's a pretty boring process. I mean, shrink, stretch, shrink, stretch, shrink, stretch. You can see though, I got this piece. I need to cut out all the rotten stuff so I can tuck it right up into place. But I mean, you can see it here. Once this pulls in, that goes up a little bit. We're good. I stretched it a hair far on this corner right here, just to tuck it in, but I can fix that. That's good. And then along the rest of the lip, it's pretty much there. Go over to the other side. I mean, that's right there. And I mean, it's up, it's touching. Let's see if we can see. Okay. It's along the way. It's a whole lot of metal to manipulate, but compared to the rot that was there, just imagine that this is all welded, blended. You know, it's all going to pull into place as I go. This isn't a show truck by any means, but it's going to have a nice solid windshield lip. It'll all be buffed out. We'll spray it white. It'll look good. I'm going to spend a bunch of time just tweaking it. I want that top lip as flat as possible. I got to fix that radius there, bring it back out a little bit, and I'll stretch it a little bit more on the top right about there, just so that it's not such a sharp radius. Mostly it's just a pain in the to get in and out. You know, it's up on stands and my back doesn't take climbing underneath, so I'm gonna climb up on there and in and balance, and so I'll work it a little bit more, and then we'll go cut this cancer out. And then we got to metal prep it or convert it. There we go, rust converter, before we put it in. So this probably won't go in till tomorrow. The video's probably going to bounce around a little bit. There's some, yeah, I'm kind of all over the map at the moment. Getting back into the swing of things. I'm stoked I'm working. I'm inspired. Yeah, so next time you see this, this will be ready to actually weld it into place. So another beautiful day. We cut out all the rot. I'm not sure if I got a video of that. I'll double check. Either way, it's just a big open hole where we cut out all the cancer up in here. And you can see that's clamped the length. That fits. I gotta tweak that up a little bit, but it'll all pull into shape. A little bit of body hammer work. That'll do good. A lot of this stuff's over on Dustin's channel. Made some frame plates here, just brent them in the press brake. A little bit of heat for the last, because apparently we don't have the right dies to need a big gooseneck die. Doing that, so we can put this in. This is that Cummins crossmember I designed, which, you know, the idea is motor mounts, factory Cummins motor mounts. There's the engine plates and then tabs that go to the frame. Beauty is this will be pretty much universal because everything bolts to the motor, and then you just need frame side stuff. And then if you got to do an oil pan, undo the motor mounts, drop the crossmember out the bottom, actually pull the oil pan, pretty much do an in frame once you get the oil pan off of there. But yeah, and then so we're gonna get those plates welded, get this tacked up, drop this in, so I can cut that firewall out and start making this thing fit. Nice thing about this is we can weld around it, we can grind around it. I don't have to cover ports, I don't have to worry about hurting it, and well, I can just pick it up and hand it back out. So we've got a bunch of little rot to deal with, stuff on the inner fenders, little patch pieces, you know, somebody bronze brazed bodywork here. Little stuff like that, you know, little spots of rot all over the place. Try and patch this thing up pretty good, make it last another 50 years. But Yeah, I think we're gonna have a flurry of activity, a lot of stuff. Link will be down below. Go over to Dustin's channel, check out all this Cummins stuff. I'm kind of letting him do that, and he's got lots of video. And yeah, when I come back, there's gonna be a hole there. I'm gonna start smashing some tin up here. All right, so this thing. You go back to my channel, there's a whole video about an LS steel mock-up block. If you go on Google, it actually pops up on the first page. And I looked it up, and I did this way back like April 2023. It's a year and a half ago now. And I started this. I've gotten a lot of messages about this, so has Dustin. Just never got around to it. Life's gotten in the way. But we finally cut one out. Got it all tacked up. This is kind of our test model, make sure everything works. Got to tweak one or two small things, but dimensionally, this is accurate to a 12 valve Cummins. I designed it off of an industrial block model that I found. Yeah, it's pretty trick. And the nice thing is there's oil pan mounting holes. There is holes for the bell housing, the entire oil filter, everything is there. Exhaust manifold flange. Yeah, heads on here. I mean, holes where the pistons go, it looks like a block. And the nice thing is, I mean, it's not that heavy. This is absolutely glorious to work with compared to a, 800 pound stripped down Cummins. So next, we're gonna build the LS one. And that's gonna become a coffee table at my house because I don't really need an LS block at home. But yeah. This is pretty cool. I'm stoked this is out. I'm gonna get this posted on the internet at some point. Dustin's gonna list them up for sale. Yeah, I know people have asked about it. Here it is. You'll see lots of pictures, videos, stuff like that. I'm not sure where this ends up in this video. Everything will end up a little bit scattered as I get back into the swing of things, but mock-up block. You guys asked about it. Here it is. It's going to come in super handy, and it's going to look really good once I bolt the engine mounts to it that I've designed and start building the firewall around the hole. This case, we got to punch this. I'm figuring about 4 inches through the firewall. Basically swallow a good chunk of this rear valve cover to make it fit in here with the intercooler and the radiator. So this is just going to make life ridiculously easier. Yeah, there you go. So we got this cross member all tacked in. There's a sheet metal shim in there. It's a great tip. That helps though when everything pulls a little bit when you're welding. That'll still come in and out. We just got it clamped with a spacer so that vertically we know it's level side to side. We've measured front to rear. Everything's all where it needs to be, and it's all tacked up. So we can pop the clamps off, get a couple more tacks on this thing, and drop this dummy motor back in.
I love this.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I didn't know you had it in you.
Working out has been paying off.
Yeah, apparently.
Manhandling a Cummins. Okay, stuck on my jeans again. Like, really got me this time. Fuck this top. I'm like fully hooked here. I can't. There you go.
There you go.
Okay. Come on. There it goes.
Oh, that's beauty.
A little more.
Yeah, we do.
Want to just take that right up?
Yeah, we're probably...
Oh, it's boxed in there.
I know. Yeah, it's
You
got
you still have room for all your
wiper.
goodies.
Ooh. Wiper motor's going to become a minor issue.
You probably got the 2 inches.
Yeah, leave it in there for a minute. I'll do some measuring here. Yeah. Yeah. It's in though.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we got this thing in here. Obviously, we have some issues. That's where the wiper motor should go, so we're going to cut all that out. We got some issues here, but we can only go back to right about here because of the heater box. And that's going to be bell housing, which is obviously too narrow. So we got to get that cut out, put the pedals in, cut it to the max there, cut it to the max over here, cut it all the way down here, cut that all out, and then start putting it back together. Well, ain't that just a pretty sight? See this beautiful Cummins mock-up. Got our cross member tacked in. Box in plates. And just the right amount of oil pan clearance, as long as I'll park that oil pan right. I cut a great big hole in the firewall, about Cummins sized. Few things we got to do here. So weird fact, the bolt pattern for a 68 Power Wagon, those two bolts there and the push rod hole are the exact same as this 96-ish booster. We moved it over 1.5 inches. I'll show you why in a second, but two of the holes in that hole lined up, and we actually just had to drill the other side. Clutch master in there. We've got all the pedals bolted up. So this first thing, the cedar box, I'm going to modify this a little bit, make a little bit of room, because obviously that's pretty much into the exhaust manifold. Over here, had to make a little bit of room for bell housing, a little bit more room for bell housing. Let's see. See up there used to be a wiper motor. We've cut the bracket out because, let's see, it kind of comes through the pocket there. I'm going to deal with that shortly. We cut the bracket out so that we can move it up, basically. Go to the other side. Now, we've got the column just strapped up here. Column support off the 96 is way over here. So we got to make a bracket to move it over. We moved the pedal assembly over partly because the starter will come into the floor even cut this far. So I needed another 2 inches or so. And partly because a brake pedal was right through the middle of the column. Can't move the column. So moved the whole pedal assembly, and we had tons of room here. But we're still going to have to tweak this brake pedal a little bit, and probably shuffle the clutch pedal over just a little bit, brake pedal over a little bit. Everything will move just fine, but that brace doesn't interfere with anything. We took out the stock one. There we go. You see how much of a difference it is. That's where it was. That's where it is. But it actually fits relatively good. So there we go. See, great big hole there. I think I can move the wiper motor up a little bit once I get that all sheeted in. Dustin's out grabbing me some tin, and then today, tomorrow, basically, I'm hammering on tin work here. I'm gonna build everything down to basically the trans cover, build the firewall out, and then I'll build the trans cover once the 4500's in there. Took a couple of measurements, and let's see, this right here, I can't see it, but I have to take it on faith. This right here will be the back of the trans, and then the shifter was 9 inches further forward, so the shifter will end up right about there, which is actually a pretty good spot for it to land. You know, not super far forward like some 4-speed V8 trucks. I mean, 4500's rear shifted, so yeah, it'll work out pretty good. Once the dash is in here and the firewall's all done, you'll barely even know we were in there. We're gonna make sure it's got a nice flanged doghouse, trans cover, whatever. That's gonna be all good. That cross member's got to go away. Yeah, I got a lot of metal work to do, but that's okay. This is my happy spot. This is what I was looking forward to, this job. That and this is just cool. So I'll probably set up a tripod, time-lapse a bunch of stuff. This video will probably finish off when I take off and head home for a week. But yeah, now we're getting to the fun stuff. Get that sheeted in. Once that's sheeted in, weld out the crossmember, cut this out so we can actually put the real motor in there, and fit the intercooler, radiator, all that good stuff. Only other real big problem we've got, anybody that's done a Cummins, you can see first exhaust port's all the way in, second one's just barely out. We take a look at this, I can tell you that there to the firewall is 5.5 inches. So we got some tricky stuff we're going to do for the downpipe with some stainless plate. Not ideal, but we need a slightly tighter radius than the cast piece that was here. So yeah, it'll work. It's not going to be a drag truck, but it'll work for the island farm truck this thing's going to be. So I'm away from home and my tools. I'm working with what I got here, which isn't too horrible. We got the box and pan out here, got an English wheel, we got, oh, I set the bead roller up, got a whole sheet of 20 gauge. So, show you what my process here is. I'm not doing this in one piece. I'm going to do this in a few different pieces. So, I got a piece of TIG filler wire. Basically, I'm only starting the welded in portion from that spot and above. The reason I'm doing that is anything below that is bell housing, and I want that to be open when we pull the transmission cover. I'm not worried about up here. This can get welded. So, at about this height, one-handed, this is about what we need. Gives us about 1 inch of space off the back of the block. I know I'm lining up in the same spot here. Now, this piece, we're basically going to want to continue up to there. That one's on a bit of a slope. This one's vertical. So what I'm going to do is I get to measure this out. I know this fits. I'm going to have an upright flange on this side. Obviously this will be cut off here. We're going to have a vertical flange here. And when we get to that side, when it goes in the box and pan brake, it'll be bent on a slight angle. And I'm going to build this piece T-shaped. So there's going to be a piece that comes out around like this. And then the center portion is going to go up, around, and roll into this right here. Up a little bit more for some valve cover clearance. That way I've got the basic shape. I can be able to see all of my clearances looking from the side like this. And then I can fill in the corners, which is some compound curves, you know, actually shaping some metal. And once that's all filled in, then I can go back in, put the wiper motor back in up there, patch in all the corners, make it look good, and then kind of continue it down into here. But that's going to be the first piece of metal, just a T-shape for here, and then get on the rest. Well, wire form, sheet metal. So basically, I'm going to end up with a flange about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch there. This is going to come basically straight out along this, nice radius there, at which point we're ending up in that territory so we can bend our flange. This is the metal, and then this is going to roll forward. So try to remember to set up the tripod because I forget, but yeah, I'm going to start moving it. Decided to move everything all into one place, just give us a proper workstation here so I can work away. And obviously, bead roller, you search back, there's a video of me designing, building that. Made this a couple of videos ago. Dustin grabbed himself a score of an English wheel for ridiculously cheap. Divorce sale or something, gotta love it. Shrinker stretcher, we got a little shear, box and pan brake, but basically everything is right here that I'm going to need right now, and that way we're just working in one spot, be efficient. So I'm just going to set this thing up on the tripod and oh, I'm looking at this, I had to clear some video off of this. My poor phone got smashed, so bear with me here. If thing doesn't come out very well, or if the video doesn't come out very well, I'm blaming my phone. I can only see half the screen. So yeah, I'm going to clear off some storage. I'm gonna set this up on the tripod, and yeah, the video will explain what I'm doing. I got my little wire template here, and I can form it, check the template, go flange the edge. Yeah, everything's here. So this will be fun. Well, for a quick couple of minutes, I'm super happy with how that fits. We got, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch or an inch there. And see, it actually works out. It's touching where we cut out there, which a little bit of dumb luck, a little bit of skill. A couple of clecos holding it in. I didn't want a flat edge there. This truck's got all kinds of nice curves on it. So just putting a nice radius into this, and then obviously these are gonna be rolled right down. These panels are gonna get a little complicated. That's why I'm building this in section. Again, it's not a hot rod, but, oh, kinda is. I just want it to be the best it can possibly be. It let me loose on the sheet metal. There's nothing off the back of the head on the Cummins. I got a model, and plus we've got the motor outside, but you know, I probably got 3/4 of an inch there, but I think I'm gonna run a bead from right there up, over, and back down. It'll give it a little bit of structure, plus I can step it out. We'll run it above the back of the head. Valve cover's got lots of room already, but run a bead up like that, and that way gives us a little bit more rigidity, plus it'll step it off just a little bit more. And then the pieces here I'm going to put a flange there that's going to roll off the edge right there, and that flange will be what the trans cover actually attaches to. That's why I want to step it off a little bit so I don't have screws poking through into the back of the motor or something. But bead roller's all set up there. We got to get it powered like mine. We just got a big boat wheel on it, but yeah, it'll do. I'll pop this back out. We're going to bead roll it, throw it back in, and I can start working on those corner pieces. So here's the thing. I've been editing together this part of the video. I had no idea how much footage I had. I had no idea where to break it up. So I'm going to break it up here. The video's already starting to get a little bit long. I know my attention span is not great. I don't expect anybody else's to be either. So I'm going to stop it here. I'm going to take all the rest of the footage from my last trip, turn it into video 2, and this trip will be video 3. So give me a day or two and I'll upload part 2. Go check out Dustin's channel. Do me a favor, if you like this, like, comment, subscribe, do the whole YouTube thing. It has been forever since I'm here. I feel good about filming again. You know what, I'll do a video down the road. I'll tell you about the last year. I'll show you some stuff around my shop at home, some stuff I got going on. I've been productive, just not digitally. So thank you guys if you suffered through this all the way to the end. You guys are rock stars. Yeah, tell me what you think. I'll see you on the next one.